Hello again.
Hello.
Did I ever tell you about the time I almost died fishing?
Good Lord, it is a miracle you have survived this long.
Twice.
Twice what?
I almost died fishing twice.
Well, this I have to hear.
Well, I met up with my friend Eric, who is a real experienced fisherman. He even has bass thumb.
Did you say ass thumb?
No, I said bass thumb. When he catches bass and holds them by the lip, they are like sandpaper and make his thumb all messed up. He calls it bass thumb.
I learn something new every time I talk to you.
Thanks. But I digress.
You digress. Never. Sorry.
Well, as I was saying, before I was interrupted by the narrative police, Eric took me out fishing to this river near the ocean during low tide that we were able to walk across to get to this little strip of land.
Why did you do that?
So we could get closer to the fish.
Don't you have fishing rods so you can throw the line out to the fish?
Eric likes to get closer to them and meet them on their turf.
Sounds reasonable.
So we walked down the river a ways and then started to fish.
Did you catch anything?
Not the point of the story.
So that's a no.
No, I did not catch any fish, but Eric did.
Hence the bass thumb, and why you have hands like a baby's bottom.
Bingo.
Did he keep the fish?
No, he let them go. When it was time for us to leave, I realized my right leg was stuck in the sand, and I was unable to move.
You got stuck just like that when you were ready to leave.
Well, no, honestly, I had sunk in the mud about 10 minutes earlier, but didn't say anything.
What? Why would you do that?
Well, my left leg was free, and I figured I would just push myself out when it was time to leave. Unfortunately, since the water had come in to cover the lower part of my leg, it was like being stuck in cement.
You are an idiot.
Funny, that is exactly what Eric said. When he realized what was happening, he told me a story about how turkeys sometimes die in the rain because they look up at the sky and drown because they are too stupid to look away. He said I reminded him of that story.
I can see why.
Anyways, I started to lose the feeling in my right leg, and the more I struggled, the tighter the grip got, and my left leg started to sink too.
Good Lord.
Eric kept telling me to hurry as the tide was quickly coming in, and the water was getting higher and higher.
You must have been petrified.
Let's just say the water wasn't fit for drinking.
Gross.
Kidding about that last part. The water was getting higher and soon had started to cover my waist, and I thought I was a goner. I started to think of crazy schemes like when Sylvester Stallone was in a similar situation in one of his movies. I believe he was breathing through a garden hose as the water went over his head.
And you and Eric thought that would work?
I actually did not clue Eric in on my plan, but as I thought about how high the water would get at high tide, I realized there was no way we would find a hose that long, so I kept that idea to myself.
Probably for the best.
Probably.
So how did you get free?
Well, Eric tried tugging me out, but realized he had a better chance of pulling my arms out of their sockets as opposed to pulling my fat ass out of the mud.
It must have been like trying to pull a hippo out of a pool of pudding.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, wait a minute.
Just saying.
Just saying I'm a hippopotamus?
No, really, how? Did you get out?
Eric finally decided he was going to have to dig me out and had to go underwater to do it. He was digging and digging like a madman and had to come up for air a few times until eventually I was free to move.
My God, he saved your life.
Well, let's not go crowning his ass just yet. I said I almost died twice.
That's true, you did say that.
So we walked back towards where we had crossed the river, but since it took us so long to get me free, the water was no longer knee deep.
How high was it?
Eric said he thought it was chest deep.
That seems manageable.
Well, he went first and told me to follow him, but by then I was pretty tired from my near-death struggle and my leg was pretty numb, so I fell a little bit behind.
Oh no.
Yeah, he was already across before I had even really begun, so he tried to direct me where to step from the other side, but by the time I got halfway across, the water was already up to my chin, and I was having a hard time holding my rod and tackle box over my head.
What did you do?
Well, Eric told me to bounce.
He told you to bounce?
Bounce.
Explain.
He said if I bounced while walking across, I would go underwater for a second or two, but eventually make it to the other side.
Didn't work out that way.
Not quite. I bounced underwater for what felt like an eternity before I popped back up right into the incoming current and started to drift up the river away from where Eric was.
Just like a floating hippo.
Again?
Sorry, couldn't help it.
Well, before I got too far, I reached out my fishing rod and asked Eric to grab on and pull me across.
So he saved you twice.
He said no.
He did not.
He did so. To be fair, I did forget to take off my lure and was waving a big metal hook in his face, but still.
So how far did you drift?
Well, it felt like miles, and when I looked over my shoulder I saw some of the boats that were moored in the water, so I thought, if I could just hold on until I got to one of them, at least I could grab on and rest and wouldn't drown.
Good idea.
Oh, and I think my asthma was kicking in, since I was breathing like a 2-pack-a-day smoker after a marathon, so it made it hard to hear what directions Eric was yelling at me, but I eventually did.
What was he yelling?
Stand up.
Stand up.
Yet it turns out I had drifted far enough across, so I could stand.
Still neck deep?
Not quite. I had drifted into about 3 feet of water.
So you are 6 feet tall and almost drowned in 3 feet of water.
Yup.
You must have felt like a fool.
A little bit, but luckily there was no one around, but I think, while I was underwater, I heard the fish laughing at me.
I wouldn't blame them.
Oh wait. 3.
3 what?
I almost died 3 times while fishing. I forgot about the time I was on the fishing boat out of Gloucester.
Surely you can't be serious.
I'm serious, and don't call me Shirley. Tribute. Okay, I'll save that one for next time. Bye for now.